Here are 5 essential things you must do after installing openSUSE, Tumbleweed or Slowroll. Now, this is a brand new installation I've done here just for this video. Now, I have installed OBS, so I did have to go ahead and install that, as you can see here, just so I can make this video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to update your system, and this is the first thing you need to do. Now, usually you'll have a little icon down the bottom right here that will say updates available. But that is the KDE updater for local packages. And what we have to get used to here is we are not going to be using that ever, because it does cause some issues, which I'll explain in a little while. So what we're going to do is just, first of all, open a terminal, and we're going to run a command that you are going to get very familiar with, but it's super easy, and I'll explain. So open your terminal and type sudo zypper dup. DUP stands for distribution upgrade, and that means every time we do an update, it's going to upgrade the whole system in one go, which means everything will be tested and working together. That's the key for openSUSE, because it all comes from their fantastic OpenQA system, which means all the packages get tested and checked before they come down to you. It's a great feature. Now, run your update like we've got here. If you get a problem like it says here, you can pause it. It says what the solutions are. Just pick number 1. It says that's how to fix it. So we're going to click that. As you can see, this has been sat here for several weeks now, this system, without being updated. And there's 2,719 packages to upgrade. Yours probably definitely won't be this high, but because I left it so long, it is. So we're going to update this package. It's going to take ages because that is tons to upgrade. So we're going to run the update now. Now, it's come up with an NVIDIA license agreement here because it's looking for NVIDIA drivers. To OK this, you're just going to press down arrow to get to the 100% and then click yes for that you agree, if you agree, of course. So hit Y, hit enter, and then just let the update run. Again, like I said, this is probably going to take 45 minutes with this many packages. So we'll come back after. Now, here we are. So we're near the end now. We're just coming to the end of the updates. It did take forever, like I thought it would, but yours won't be that long. But this is the key thing. So we must run that update, that sudo zypper dup. Never use the user GUI interface that's in the bottom right corner, because that comes from KDE, and that will only update the local packages, not all the system packages. So it's very key that you remember that. Now, there is a tool which I'll explain later, which does give you a GUI interface, graphical user interface. When I say GUI, by the way, graphical user interface, where you can update this, which is a little bit easier to use if you don't like using the terminal tool. Now, there isn't currently, I don't think, some bright spark might have made it, an icon for the tray to show you when the updates are available via the DUP. That's not available right now, but I'm sure it's something that's coming in openSUSE. But again, it's not really a problem. You'll get used to it, I promise. And if you ever can't remember the command after, if you just press up on the terminal, up arrow, it will show you your previous commands that you've used. So you can always use that, by the way. But anyway, that's the system updated at last. As you see, I've done there's not going to be any KDE customization in this video because that's not important. The important 5 are the ones I'm going to show you today. So like I said, number 1, do your first update from the terminal, not the GUI. That is number 1. So let's do a nice reboot now, restart the system, and move on to number 2. Okay, we're back. That is all refreshed. So now we're going to move on to number 2, which is check and set up Snapper. Now, Snapper is a fantastic tool that is integrated within openSUSE, and you can get this on all distributions, but openSUSE has the best implementation because they include it in Tumbleweed and Slowroll integrated when you install it. So Snapper is just a rollback feature, but that's making it sound very simple, but it is just a rollback feature, which means if something goes wrong with this system, you can pretty much always recover it from the boot menu, and it's super easy. There's actually a video on my channel where I purposely break my system to show you how to fix it. So I'll leave a link in the top here so you can check that out. So what we're going to do, we're going to type in Snapper space list into the terminal, and that is going to bring up all your snaps, all your snapshots that you currently have installed. And as you can see here, it shows you the description of what you can type in whatever description you like, and it tells you when the snapshot was taken, and what size it is and everything. So you can see exactly what point in time these snapshots were recorded, which is fantastic. So what we're going to do is create a new one now, just so we've got a baseline. So I'm going to type sudo snapper create. I'll leave links to these commands down below, and then description, and we're just going to call it whatever the hell you want. You can call this anything you like. So I'm just going to call it clean install something, whatever I decide. Baseline, that'll do. So now we can see, so we can look for that in a moment to see if that's done. So you just press enter. Oh, I messed it up there. Fat fingers. But that's just now creating the snapshot. We'll just give it a second while it's doing that. And now that will give us like a, now we've done the update, you know that that snapshot is a brand new install with the latest updates. And that is your baseline, basically, from anything else that happens in the future now. So now if we just press up arrow, like I said, up arrow, sudo snapper list, we're going to do the same command again. So we haven't even left the terminal here. It's fantastic. And now it's going to list the current snapshots again. And as you can see, there's our brand new one, clean install baseline. Our snapshot is saved. Hallelujah. It's a wonderful tool. And the reason why I like openSUSE so much is because they include this already set up for you. I haven't done anything apart from what you've just seen me do. And as you saw, there was already a list of snapshots from before already, which is fantastic. But it's always good to make sure this is set up and nothing's gone wrong, and to set yourself a brand new one up so you know it's done. So make sure you do that. And that was tip number 2. So once you've done that, it's a pretty simple one. Let's move on to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is to get your media codecs sorted. It's an obvious one and a classic. But out of the box, openSUSE can't play a lot of common video and audio formats, MP3s, MP4s, that kind of thing. And that is purely for licensing reasons, basically. And we can fix this by adding one extra software source called Packman. So I'm going to type in the very convenient and very short command here, which I will leave a link below so you don't have to type this out yourself. And then you're going to run that, and then we're going to switch over the system to use that to give us the licensing and to give us the codecs that we need. And again, the second command is the one people miss out on because they install this first bit, but then they don't activate it. So you must make sure you run the second command here, because without that, you won't be using the new source. Once this is done, just load up a video, press play, make sure it all works, and that's it. It's done, really. So let me just type in this first one, get that installed, and I'll show you what the second command is, which again I will include below for you so you don't have to type it all. If you're finding this helpful, if you go to gnulinux.com, there is a whole openSUSE Tumbleweed start guide. If you want to just copy these commands, you can go to the website and you can follow along all these on the website. This isn't an openSUSE channel, by the way. It's just my favorite distribution, that's all. So bear that in mind. So as you see, that's already activated. So we're going to just put in the second one now, which is here. And once that's confirmed, like I said, just load up something, press play, and that should be all your media codecs switched over to the new system. Fantastic. All done. So let's move on to tip number 4. And number 4 is set up Flatpak and Flathub. Now, the built-in software store for openSUSE cover most of what you need. But the moment you go looking for something like Discord or a specific new app or something that isn't already in the official openSUSE library, you will come up short. That is where Flathub comes in. Now, Flathub is a separate app store that has almost everything. I'm sure you're aware of Flathub already by now with other distributions. It's available to all distributions. And these are just packages that are packaged up neatly in their own little container that will run on any distribution, so anyone can get access to them. And openSUSE is no different. It can use them. It's just not always switched on by default to access them. So that is what we're going to do now. And the command, again, like I said, I'll include the commands all below. That's no problem. We're going to type in that to add that repo. We're going to add that there, Flatpak. And then we need to log out and log back in again or restart so that it all shows up properly. Then after that, anything from Flathub appears in your normal software store alongside everything else. So you won't know anything different. You will just see them available and it will show you that it's a Flathub package. Now, one thing you must note, though, is apps installed this way update separately from the rest of your system because they are not part of the openSUSE system. They are a separate add-on. So running sudo zypper dup won't update the Flatpak packages. So every now and again, you do have to run Flatpak update just to update those separate packages. So just bear that in mind. So number 5 is get familiar with Myrlyn. Now, if you remember back to step 1 in this list, don't use the GUI to update. Myrlyn is the exception, and it's definitely worth knowing about. So Myrlyn is a newer app that gives you an actual working software manager with a visual interface. One that isn't built on the same sort of shaky foundation as the old update icon. Unlike this one, it can actually handle proper full system updates. And that is the same update as zypper dup, just with buttons instead of typing. So you can check if it's already on your system by just typing Myrlyn into bash and it will tell you straight away. If it doesn't load up, just type in sudo zypper install Myrlyn and it will do it. And this is what it will open up once it's done. Again, commands are all down below. So you get an update button at the top here, and that package update is your old system package update manager, which we don't want to use. We want distribution upgrade. That is what we want to use for all our system updates. You see, I've got a couple already to update. So just get used to it. If you want a button, you can drag this to your taskbar as your update manager here. And just update it from here if you want. Just load that up. If there's any updates in that list, use the upgrade button, hit apply or accept, and it will run sudo zypper dup for you. So there is a bit of a workaround. Now, I know that feels a bit janky at first, and this is probably quite confusing, but you get used to it. Honestly, you do get used to it. And it's only going to get better. You got to remember, Myrlyn is very new, so it's still a new system that they are still working out because we don't have YAST anymore, which used to be the whole system administration tool. But they have phased YAST out now, sadly. I loved YAST, I thought it was fantastic. But that is gone, and we can do a lot of these updates with a couple of new tools, which I'll go over in the future video if you want. But Myrlyn is definitely one of the new ones, and it's definitely something we can get used to using if you don't want to use the terminal at all. So that is it. They are my 5 key things you must do to your openSUSE system if you're using Tumbleweed and Slowroll. So bear that in mind. Now, if we want to go into some more aesthetic stuff, we can do that in a future video. We can show you how to customize your desktop a little bit. We can install a different desktop environment if you don't want to use KDE. That might be quite exciting to do. So we'll have a little look. So if you do want to find any other information, like I said, my website, I've tried to make it as useful as I possibly can to anybody new to Linux. And it's actually called GNU to Linux. If you get the reference, then bravo to you. GNU2Linux.com. And again, Linux without the Linux without the gatekeeping is the idea. There are some openSUSE handbooks on here and some openSUSE tools just because, like I said, it's my favorite distribution. But I love all Linux distributions and we don't need to fight about it. We need to encourage people to use Linux. Find your home. Find the one that you really enjoy using and use it. But there's some first steps. All the commands are here. If you want to go and find the commands on the website instead, just GNU2Linux.com. Go to the handbook. Add the repositories here. I've tried to put everything I can think of in here. There's the multimedia codecs that we've covered. I've done a host name depending on what you're doing, but you can see all this sort of stuff. There's explanations on zypper and how to install things, just general tips. And there's some generic Linux ones on this website as well. It's not just openSUSE, like I said. And there's the installs on how to sort out Myrlyn. Cockpit is the other tool that we'll talk about later in the future video. And there's your Flatpaks. So there you go. So if you found this video helpful, or you've got some other cool tips, again, we're here to sort of help each other. If you've got more cool tips, please drop them below. Let me know what you think. And if there's anything else you'd like me to go over, I can make a video for you. I've done a couple of videos for comments already. So if you've got a good question, I'll happily do a video reply to you and answer it directly. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.